And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, here with you between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday in the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. And if you haven't been over to Great Lakes Honda City, I suggest you find your way over there today. They're open Monday through Saturday for sales and service. They have Honda Days going on right now, and you could find out more about what that means by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. That's GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Inside of MonPazPopcorn.com is What's Poppin', bringing you a full show today, as always, and bringing you the annoying moment of the week every single Friday, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, followed by our second piece of our trifecta, if you will, of segments we bring you on Fridays: Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero, and the Top Dog of the Week, proudly presented by K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, all coming to you today inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. And, of course, we will have a very, very special way of ending this week, which I'm ecstatic about. I get to share my extensive, multi-layered, you can't miss it, found out a bunch of things that I didn't know conversation, and you will too, with Mr. Jack Stonehouse, arguably the best punter going into the NFL draft in 2026, coming up here in just a few months. So Jack Stonehouse, that special, will be with us this morning around 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. We appreciate you being on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So, however you're connected with us, we thank you so much for being with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe. And we're jumping right into it with the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by the wonderful team led by Jay Cartini over at Carvel DeWitt.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
Do you have to be that crazy? I guess so. The annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York, is here, and it is time for me to give you my annoying moment. Well, folks, you know that over the years, it's been something that there's some reoccurring ones, I'll say, with the annoying moment of the week. There's things that kind of show up, right? Bad driving, poor manners, things like that just kind of find their way. And I think for this week, as we get into the annoying moment of the week, there's a few things on my mind. And one of them is how we treat people. And I know, like I said, there's sometimes a theme that follows from one to the next. And the theme of how we treat people, that's definitely something that I can say has followed throughout multiple annoying moments of the week. But when we look at social media and what was arguably meant to help bring us together, right? To help us to... Now, maybe some people had some nefarious thoughts on it. Hey, we can get a bunch of people to converse and we can see how much they fight with each other, and if they're fighting and paying attention to each other, they're not paying attention to what's really going on in the world. So maybe that was a thought. But I would say I think social media was something created that was supposed to help us have some connection with one another, some bonding with one another. The opportunity to make our world small in a good way, to be able to reach people in the beginning, what Facebook was just people that you went to college with. And then it became more. Then all of a sudden one day I was like, how did this person that I went to elementary school with, how did they see my profile? How can they see my profile? And that's when I found out that you could extend out. I don't know when it started, but I definitely experienced it at that point. And I was a senior in college. It was around 2006, 7. Oh, there you go. 6, 7. But, you know, I thought it was supposed to bring us together, right? I thought it was a good way to connect with people you would never connect with before. How about this? Whoever thought they'd be able to reach out to their favorite entertainer and write them a message, and maybe they would get one back from that person? Like, how amazing, right? So there's a lot of good that can come from social media. But then there's the other side. God bless me. And God bless us all. There's something that can come from, you know, there's the other side of social media. The access to people can be a good thing, and it can also be a negative thing. Because when you have access to people, what do you use it for? How do you use the access that you have? How do you treat people? And I find that social media, there's a lot of hate. There's a lot of ignorance. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of people that seem to have a ton of time on their hands to tell everybody how they're living their lives instead of living their own. I find everybody's an expert on everything, and everybody knows better than you do, and they come to someone who is actually in that field of work, and they tell that person that they know better than that person that's actually working in that field, which is wild to me. Now, could you get something right? Right? Can every squirrel find a nut? Can you take a guess on something? Sure. Sure you can. Doesn't mean that it's gonna be correct, but sometimes you might be correct when you take a guess. And if you're correct when you take a guess, are you a genius or did you just take a guess? Right? So, but kind of moving off of that point, when you think about social media and what's true and what's not true and what are people using it for and are people actually who they say they are and so on and so, because I think it's wild that you can like not be somebody and create a profile. Like somebody can go out there and try to pretend to be you. Dave Chappelle talked about it, that this guy, you know, was funny and it seemed like it was Dave Chappelle on Twitter and started beefing with Cat Williams, and maybe Cat Williams thought that it was actually Dave. So, because why wouldn't you, right? And because I think it was at Dave Chappelle. But social media, in and of itself, in this annoying moment of the week, it does have a dark side. And one of the things that I find utterly ridiculous, and I don't know if it's AI or if it's people just being not great, but there's a lot of stories out there that aren't true. Quotes that never happened, stories that never came to pass, things that have that don't exist. There was a story out there that Adrian Autry got fired. And it was reposted, and other people posted it. And I'd sit here and I think to myself, like, what would provoke a person to fabricate a story and then try to spread it? To get famous? To get likes? To get clicks? Are you that desperate for attention? So that's something that's kind of stuck on my mind this week, is seeing things on social media that just aren't true. Or the fact that people can go and see anybody's social media that's public, steal their stuff, and then promote it as their own. Which plagiarism's been going on forever and a day. But plagiarism is... It's just... it's sick. It's really sick. And, you know, I was talking to a buddy earlier this week, and we were just discussing plagiarism in the media and how people are and how people treat people and how people don't care. And just how they're willing to do whatever. And I just remember being in the conversation, and I don't know what provoked the conversation. I don't know what inside of me was like, I want to talk about this today, but it just kind of came out. And I was discussing it earlier this week, and I was like, you know what? I'm just really, really sick and tired of people stealing people's stuff. Not just my stuff, but anybody's stuff. You know, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Plagiarism can get you expelled from school. So why can't it take you from your job? And this is and here's the thing. I'm not wishing bad on somebody. I'm not wishing that somebody doesn't have a job. If you're plagiarizing in the media, you shouldn't have a job. It's not my wish. It's not my hope. I don't want bad on you and your family. I just don't believe. Like, if I was an owner of a media company, oh wait, I am, and somebody was plagiarizing within my company, I would fire them. I would, okay, maybe they didn't know. Maybe they made a mistake. Okay, I hire an intern. They didn't know that they couldn't do this way. Whatever, I give them a second chance. But it depends on, like, the knowledge, the wisdom, what you did, how you did. I mean, there's layers to all that stuff. But, because I'm not saying that people don't make mistakes, but you don't make mistakes like I've seen the media make mistakes over and over and over again, going to the same sources, taking information from the same people for weeks, months, years. And so I feel there's this world we're living in where lies are truth if enough people believe them. Plagiarism's okay if you don't get caught. And that sickens me because I'm on this merit, right? I'm on this moral value. I don't cut corners. I don't believe in that. I believe in doing things right the first time. If I don't, you can best be assured that my brain, my conscience, that guide, that voice from God will say, get your together and do better. So again, I don't wish that people, I'm not wishing bad on people. I don't believe that if you plagiarize on purpose, you should be out there being a source of information for people. I don't believe you should. Because all you are, you're not a source of information for people. You're a source of information for people. You're a piggybacker. You're a leech. And there's a lot of leeches out there. There's a lot of leeches out. I don't know what they do in a given day. Do they just sit and wait for certain people to post? So, I mean, I would say when it comes to social media and it comes to access to information, that leads me into like fake information that's out there. Is it AI? Is it just people trying to get famous? And then, you know, I mean, there's been stories written about Fran Brown about things that I didn't see him ever say. And they're like full quotes. It's not even like somebody writing a story insinuating something. They were quoting him. And he didn't say these things. So, I mean, it's, to my knowledge, so it's just wild to see the things that are out there, to see the plagiarisms, to see the fake news. That's the funny thing. I tell people this all the time. If you like the current president, if you don't like the current president, and wait before you freak out, because when people don't like Trump, they lose their minds. But I tell people this all the time. I'm going to go dead center, middle of the line, moderate, okay? Whether you like Trump or you don't like Trump, I'm going to tell you something he's never lied about. Never once lied about. When he said the media is fake news, not all the time, but he said there's a lot of fake news in me. Well, however he said it. This is my moderate stance on this. When he told you the media lies to you, that they present fake news, that they're not always accurate, they're not always fair, that's true. How do I know? I've lived in it. I've seen it. I've been on the victim side of people doing some really shady in media. So I can tell you that the current president calling out the media, he's not wrong. He's not. They don't always tell you that. They pick and choose the truths that they want to tell you. They'll tell you pieces of the truth. They'll go, okay, well, this is our story and this is what we stuck with and this is where we are. So anything that diverts from this, anything that goes away from this point that we're trying to make, we will not include that. Okay? If you think that that doesn't happen, if people don't pick and choose the information and manipulate quotes and whatnot, I have watched people do it. I've watched people misquote somebody right after they said something, and live during a press conference that's carried to the world, the coach is looking at the media member going, I did not just say those words. Those are not the words well, that's how I understand. And they don't even apologize. Well, that's how I understood what you said. No, that's not what he said. It's not what he said. It's not about, see, this is the world we live in today. You say something and somebody goes, well, I'm not wrong for writing down what I heard because it's how I heard it and my ear hears differently. And I just thought, and then no, it's not the words. We've distorted reality to a point where people don't have to apologize for misquoting, misrepresenting, and plagiarizing. For lying. For fabricating. For sensationalizing. And as a member of the media, it's deplorable, it's disgusting, it's detestable? Is that a word? I don't even know. But it is. And so I was looking for another word to go with disgusting. But there's something to be said about where we're at right now as a society, that we are being fed information that are pieces of the actual story. It's like, okay, I'm pushing this agenda, so I'm going to use these 5 words, but I'm not going to use the whole quote because the whole quote would destroy my agenda. But if I can manipulate the quote for these few words, then I can keep my agenda going, and I can keep feeding these people information at 1 o'clock in the morning when they're laying in bed, and I can keep making them mad. I can keep making them calm. I can keep making them question. I can keep making them laugh. Whatever you're trying to do to sustain what you're attempting to accomplish. The media is a powerful, powerful weapon. What did they say? The pen is mightier than the sword. The sword is killing on a battlefield one by one, where the pen, the microphone, that can distort, disrupt, hypnotize, and overtake millions with a single sentence. A sword takes time to go through its victims. A pen can take seconds. So, yeah, I'm going to call out the media. Because I see you. I hear you. I know you steal my stuff. I know you steal other people's stuff. And just because I'm a business owner that created my company and I don't have, 100 years in business yet, and I don't have $1 million here or there that I can just throw, and I'm not greasing the wheel and shaking hands behind closed doors in the shadows, I can't say the truth. The truth of the matter is, if you don't stick up for what is right, you let what is wrong get into power. People say, how did Hitler ever get into power? Fear. Right? Fear. This guy's never going to... Maybe it starts with this guy's never going to win. Then it turns into, whatever, he's crazy. Who's going to believe him? Then it turns into, oh, well, I didn't expect that to happen. Then it turns into, oh, well, now I don't feel safe. Well, now I'm going to shut up. Well, now I'm a little bit worried. Well, now I'm concerned about my family. Well, and now he's in power. See, typically when somebody does something wrong, the room is not going to say anything, right? I walk into a room of 30 media people and 17 of them plagiarize. They're just hoping that nobody says a word. And they can keep doing it. And then they look out for each other because they're all committing the same sin. They're all doing the same crime. So they're not going to point a finger at that person because they don't want anybody to point a finger at them. They want to keep it low. So you come into the room and everybody's got to pretend like they don't know what they know. When in actuality, some people that are at the top of the mountain preaching to you, their sermon comes from somebody else's notebook. And the world will be better off with plagiarism, lies, deceit, manipulation, distortion, agendas taken out. Media seeking to control people, which is what's happening right now, is terrifying, but it's very real. And what is this show called? Wake Up Call. And what am I trying to do? Wake us up. You know, they used to say you're a conspiracy theorist if you call out what most people believe in or what most people don't care about or whatever. You know, like, oh, most people are fine with this. You know, somebody calls out the media. I'm in the media. I'm not whistleblowing from 20 miles away. I'm whistleblowing from in the building, in the room. I've seen somebody put their arm around the wife of a coach, apologize to her, and apologize to her about how he treated the coach and the family. And she's not having it, and he keeps apologizing. What can he do? How can he make it better? And then the next article he writes is another article attacking her and her husband after he apologized, after he put his arm around her. If the media was the Garden of Eden, there'd be a hell of a lot more snakes than one. And my middle name is Michael, the protector of humanity, the one who stands up to the snake. So how can I not live my namesake and stick up for what's wrong, whether it happens to me or it happens to somebody else? The fact that I wake up in the morning and I'm, daily fact-checking people? I don't watch the news anymore in Syracuse because I saw my stuff happening in it. I'm not going to read the newspaper when my quotes are in it. When I've caught those people on my website parading as members of my site so that they can, get the information, copy and paste it, get to it first, get an alert when a new story goes up so that they know what they're writing for that day. I have caught people. I see you. And in a world where there's plagiarism, lies, deceit, control, fakeness, and everybody thinks they're a broadcaster and everybody thinks they're a news reporter. People are reporting on stuff that they're not even in the same state as. I had somebody steal information from me from a training camp in the NFL that he wasn't even at. He wasn't even physically in that city, in that state. But he was there. So, we see you. We know you. And we're talking. You want to know why? Because the world has a right to know the truth. The world has a right to know the sources they can trust. And they say, well, Dan, of course you're going to say we can trust you. Look at my track record. 22 years, over 5,000 guests, relationships that I have built, many of over a decade. Look at what we have done in the community. Look at how I do my job. Look at the questions I ask. When a team is losing and when they're winning, look at how I treat them the same as people of God, as people that you may not agree with and you may not think are doing this or that, but you respect them. All I ask that people do is check your sources, check your places, and understand that when some media put according to my sources, they're actually saying according to the media person I stole from. Remember that. Because we ain't with it. And it's the annoying moment of the week because people should have the truth every time. Always from the sources they come from. If a 5-year-old is a child protege and they're or child prodigy, whatever, and they're amazing, okay? Alex died when he was 14, 15, 16 years old. That kid was out there doing awesome things at the ACC kickoff and whatnot. Give that man his flowers. I was blown away. I said, damn, this kid's 16 years. I got into this thing at 18. This dude got in a couple years before me. I thought I was a young man to the game. Here he is doing his thing, and respect. working his tail off. And I respect him to this day. Right? I respect the real ones. Thomas Pasquarello, Isaac Alford. I respect the real ones. Stephen Fonte, who I got to work with. I respect the real. I respect the real. And the rest of them, I don't have to do it. Nobody else has to do it. God eventually unzips the veil you have, and you end up having to step out of the skin that you parade in. The truth always comes out. It never fails. Because God is the way, the truth, the life. You cannot go the way opposite God and be successful forever. You cannot tell something as a lie to be the truth and know that the truth won't come out. And you cannot live a life in lies, in deceit, that will not be exposed. It all comes out. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, what did we know about Jeffrey Epstein? Right? What did we know about Bill Cosby? Right? What did we know about any of this stuff back then? All the stuff coming up now about Tupac and Biggie and whatnot. Do we know any of this 5 seconds ago? Right? But eventually, stuff leaks out. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, do yourself a favor and read the short story about the Telltale Heart. About the person who is killed and put under the boards. And the person that kills them, nobody knows, but that person knows, and they keep hearing the person's heart beating, even though they killed them. And it's driving them insane because the truth always comes out. They got away with it, but they didn't. So, this is not an attack from me on people out here doing fake stuff. This is me saying it's an annoying moment of the week because why am I waking up in the morning with people reporting that Adrian Autry got fired and there's no repercussions for that? There's nothing for that. There were people that were announcing Robin Williams was dead 2 years before he died. What type of sick human being does something like that? But there's no repercussions, right? Because we live in a country where there's freedom of speech, which people think means freedom of consequence, freedom of anybody speaking up. And if we don't speak up, then who are we? I don't care if you don't like me. Because you don't like me because I'm a good person, a kind person, a nice person, a believer in God who works my tail off and you steal my work and you don't like the fact that I called you out when I saw you do it, when I heard you do it. You don't like that I'm saying the truth. You don't like that I'm sticking up for my work that I spent 7 hours on. Okay? If I do an exclusive and you watch it and you listen to it and then you report on it as your own, shame on you. Why don't you do the work? Okay? I'm the one that's worked so hard I've gotten myself sick many, many times. Where I'm not sleeping, not eating properly, traveling all over the place. So I'm going to go out here and do everything I can to give to the world the best information that I possibly can and be very proud of it. And you're going to sit there in your underwear eating a Kind bar and typing out my words. Shame on that, man. Shame on that. It ain't right. We'll take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. This has been the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. We'll be back right after this with Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. Proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. We are inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We hope you're having yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day today. I cannot believe, I'm very excited about this, that the college football playoff officially starts today. Now, you know, I've covered the college football playoff by the grace of God for many, many years here, and they are over a decade old, which is insane because it feels like it almost just happened yesterday when they went from the BCS to the college football playoff. But I am honored and privileged to cover the college football playoff. I'll be on site on location for the quarterfinal round, semifinal, God willing, the championship game. And I'm very, very excited about it. Last year, we got to take you through it from on-site on location, and we'll get to do it again this year. And I definitely want to thank everybody at the Orange Bowl, and a big-time shout-out to the Orange Bowl team, as well as the Cotton Bowl team and the Peach Bowl team for everything that they do, for the people that are behind the music, so to speak, that you don't maybe see or hear a lot about, but they're working tirelessly to put these things together, and I just truly appreciate it and thank them so very much. So I'm very much looking forward to being on the road in the not too distant future. The quarterfinals coming up after the first round. The first round starts today, the 19th. There's one game today, and then there are 3 games after that. So we have one game that's going to be happening here on December 19th for those of you watching and listening live, and then on December 20th we'll have 3. Here is the schedule. This is what we got going here, which I'm very excited to share with you. By the way, shout out to the Seahawks last night, an overtime game with the Rams, and now they overtake the number 1 overall seed in the NFC, which is insane. So, I mean, it's crazy how you have these divisions with these two teams that have fantastic records that they're trying to win their division, and then if they end up beating each other, like one beats the other and they're both leading their division, not only do they overtake the division, but in the case of the NFC West, whoever won last night's game took sole possession of first place in the entire NFC. So now Seattle went from 5-1, LA goes from 1-5, and you go from sitting out the wild card round and having home field advantage throughout the playoffs to now having to play on the road. That's how insane that is. So Seattle flipped with LA last night, the Rams, and shout out to, that was fantastic, 38-37, and overtime as well. So want to just give some love and give some credit where credit's due. But let's jump into lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. And I was talking about the college football playoff, so I do want to hit with that. Really, I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place right now, but I want to make sure I keep my word here and talk about what is going on. So the first round of the college football playoff starts today, Friday, December 19th. Number 8, Oklahoma against number 9, Alabama, 8 p.m. Eastern time on ABC and ESPN. On Saturday, December 20th, there are 3 more games in the first round. Number 10, Miami visits number 7, Texas A&M. Keep in mind, the first round games are all played at the home of the higher seed. So Texas A&M hosts Miami. That's noon, ABC and ESPN. Number 11, Tulane goes to number 6, Ole Miss. And that game in Mississippi is at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on TNT. And the final game of the first round of the college football playoff here in 2025-26 brings us to Oregon, Eugene, Oregon, to be exact, as number 5, Oregon will host number 12, James Madison, making their first appearance in the college football playoff. That is at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on TNT. So, talking about time. Well, today's topic for lead: where does your time go? How do you spend it? That's what I'm really asking you. How do you spend your time? What do you spend your time on? What are you out here doing? Right? That's my question to you. When you have 5 minutes to yourself, what are you running to? What do you want to do with that time that you have? Right? Have you wasted time? I have. I've wasted time. I've absolutely wasted time. Either by being around company that I shouldn't have been, or doing something that I didn't need to be doing when I could have been doing something else. Where does your time go? If we all had an hourglass next to us, and every day we woke up, we had to look at that hourglass and see the sand going to the bottom, would we take this time thing more seriously? It's my question to you. Would we? I want to know. I want to know what you think. Would you take time more seriously if you had to look at the time that you had left in your life every day? If every day you woke up, you looked at that hourglass and that was God telling you, this is how much time you have left, would you take it more seriously? I think I would, you would. I think we all would. If we're like, oh crap, that's all I got left. That's all I got for today. I can't get more. I can't buy more. Right? See, that's what people don't understand. You can't buy more. Can't buy more time. You have the time that you have. The time that God knows you will be on this earth. That's the time you have. And beyond that, that's it. So how do you spend it? What do you spend it on? Who do you spend it with? You know, when you're young, when you're a little kid, and you waste time, it's like, whatever. I got 1,000,000 years, right? I'm going to be here forever. I'm a little kid. Right? I can play video games sun up to sundown. I don't have to do anything. I have to hang out with anybody. I have to go see my family or do this or that. Or I just play, just hang out. And they always say, as you get older, you start to realize the things that matter. They say that all the time. As you get older, all you want is your health. You want your senses. You want to be around good people. You want peace. You want nice food. You don't want to buy things. You want to do things. Right? We hear that stuff all the time. But do we follow it? Do we listen? How do you spend your time? Because now, I know how I am. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to be bothered, right? Sometimes I'm like, oh, man, I don't want to go sit in a room with a bunch of people that I don't want to be around. I just want to do that, you know? So I don't do that anymore. If I have an opportunity of like sitting at home and watching TV with my dog or going to something where I'm going to be sitting around a bunch of people where I don't want to talk to you, I don't appreciate the way, and it's not being mean. It's not being like any of that stuff. It's just saying if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And, you know, I don't like being around gossipers. I don't like being around rumor mill people. I don't like being around depressing, negative people. I don't like when I'm negative. And I'll catch myself being, oh my gosh, I just spent this whole lunch talking with my mom about all this stuff that was so negative. That probably like brought her down or like made her sit here and not want to be here. Because I wouldn't want to be here to listen to this. So you have to check yourself. When I don't want to be around that company, I'm not around that company. You know, sometimes I just want to sit. See, I know if I'm with my dog, we're good. You know, the juice is here right now, hanging. She's in the studio. She's sleeping. She said, Pops, do your thing. I'm a rest. And I said, sweet. Works for me. I was going to say we could switch places, but I don't want to switch places. I love doing what I do. I do appreciate, though, that she gets to sleep and relax. But how do you spend your time? What do you spend your time on? I went to the movies last night with my dad. And during the movie, I kept looking over at him. I'm like, God, I'm just so happy that my dad wanted to be here with me. And I'm happy that I get to be a big kid. And I'm happy that, like, he took time with me. I'm happy my mom called me this morning just to see how I was doing. I'm happy that I get to take my godson to his first ever sports card shop. Shout out GG Cards and Breaks. You're about to have another fan. I'm happy I got to break bread with Jim Dispenza yesterday of Game Point Sports, and we had lunch together, and I got to bring him to Mother's Cupboard for the first time ever, and he got to get the pancake he was talking about. I'm happy I got to see Pete Green and Amy and the team, and I got to give them all a hug for Christmas. I'm happy at how, like, you know, and it was funny because, like, you kind of just go about your life, and, you know, you do your thing, and sometimes you're not thinking of stuff, and Jim was like, when you walked in here, he's like, everybody knew you. Everybody knew you, and, like, you know, and I didn't even think to that. And then, like, when I was saying hi to everybody, you know, one guy gives me a hug, and then he gives me another one, and he puts his head, you know, kind of like puts his head down to hug me, like be into my chest, you know, and to like hug me closer. And I just thought to myself, like, yeah, man, like this family really welcomed me at Mother's Cupboard. That's a really cool thing. So how do you spend your time? What do you spend it on? Who do you spend it with? Because this is how I look at every day. Okay. I want to laugh. If I'm going to cry, I want to cry because I love something dearly, because I care about it, because it matters to me. I want to have fun. Last night, I got to talk about in Superpowered Pop, another show we do with Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, and obviously we cover like comic conventions, and I ran a festival, and we do a lot of things with that. And so I did a video last night, and I didn't want to wait until this morning to do the video. So I did the video past midnight, like sitting up in bed. I'm like, I got to do this really quick video. It's going to be like 2 minutes, but I got to do it because I'm super excited because I'm a big kid. Today when I woke up and I'm like, all right, I'm going to the studio, I was like, I want to wear my Pluto sweatshirt, my Disney, you know, my like old, because I used to watch this as a kid. So this like sweatshirt has the title page of like those cartoons. So it says Disney Cartoons presents Walt Disney's Pluto the pup, because he wasn't just Pluto, he's Pluto the pup. And so I was so excited today to wear this sweatshirt to my studio. Little things, right? Little things that matter. How are we spending your time? Are you at a job that you can't stand, where you're like, you pay the bills, but you don't like the job? Do you know what I mean? Then you're going to look back on your life and be like, yeah, okay, I made a lot of money, but I couldn't stand it. Like every day that I woke up, I didn't want to go to work. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you be in a relationship where you're like, yeah, she's pretty, but she drives me nuts? Or yeah, he's got a lot of money, but I can't stand him. Like, why? Be with the people, be around the people, do the things that like make you happy. As long as you're not hurting anybody, go out there and do it, man. I'd rate, you know, like to me, if my choice was make less money doing something I love or make a ton of money doing something I can't stand, what would I choose? I already made that choice. I was making good money doing something I didn't like. Wasn't a bad job. I just didn't like it. I don't like the atmosphere. I didn't like the people I was working with. It wasn't a good place. And then I went and worked at another place, and that was better. But then like the people that were bad were the ones at the top. So that made it hard. So then you go work at another place, and you're like, man, these people lied straight to my face. They're trying to literally use me and abuse me and lock me up in this corner, and I'm supposed to just sit here and take it. So why would I keep doing that to myself? Well, because you get to have this and you get to have that. You get this and you get that. And it's like, yeah, is any of that worth like the fact that I'm disrespect? And that's the thing. When you disrespect me, there's no amount of money or things that you can present to me that's going to make me care more about that than the disrespect or the lies or the deceit. If you do wrong by me, I'm going to forgive you, but we ain't playing. I'm going to forgive you, but you ain't on my team. You know, people say that. Well, if I lie to you in business, Dan, we could still be friends. You're the same person. That's the same person that lied to me in business is the person that's my friend. Why would I trust you here when I can't trust you there? If you do dirty, it's dirty. Bye. See you. I'm going to pray for you. I hope the best. I pray for the people that do me wrong so much that it's normal for me now. I'll be praying for my mom and my dad and Lily, and then I'm praying for people in my family that don't talk to me and don't like me. I'm praying for them in the same breath that I'm praying for the people I talk to every day, because God didn't teach me to hate on people. He taught me to love, even when it's hard. He taught me to care, even when it's difficult. But I don't remember God saying to me, hey, go waste your time on this earth with a bunch of people that don't like you. Go hang out with them. Go drive yourself nuts. Work in a job where you make... Where is it in the Bible where it says make a ton of money and hate yourself? Where is it in the Bible where it says get in a relationship where somebody can take care of you financially and you could be a leech? Where is that in the Bible? Where is it in the Bible where it says do unto others how you don't want done to you? Treat people the way you don't want to be treated. Talk to them the way you don't want to be talked about. It says the opposite. So how am I going to spend my time? Do I waste time? Yes. Yes. But see, I'm coherent. I paid attention. I know when I'm wasting time. I know that's a bad habit. That's a sin. That's something I don't need to do. That's something I don't need to worry about. That's something I need to stop talking about. I know those things. So it's up to me. I got the knowledge. I got the wisdom. Now I got to implement it. That's what we have to do. Because going to the movies with my dad yesterday, I could have been on the moon. I could have been on Mars. There could have been a million things happening in the world and people worried about this, that, and the third. But I was hanging out with Pops and I loved it. Right? I can't wait to take a trip with my mom this weekend because I love being in the car with my mom and I love talking with my mom. And I'm sure I'm going to learn things about my mom I didn't even know. So just think about how you're spending your time and realize that whether or not we can see it or not, there's an hourglass next to us. And that sounds scary, but it's true. They always say that people start living life when they know it's going away, right? Somebody finds out they're sick, now they want to live. But when they were healthy, what were they doing? I don't want tragedy to make us care. And sometimes tragedy can't even break the stone hearts. I've seen people die in my family and I go, oh, okay, that person died. That's a wake-up call. Now we're all going to get close to each other. Now those people push me farther away. I'm like, you saw somebody die and that didn't make you want to hug your family. It made you get deeper into your grudges that you hold. That's one way to live your life. I'm going to still pray for you, but we don't have to, what do they say? I'll pray for you, but I won't mess with you. And I love my brother Isaac. What's our life like? We go get pizza, we laugh, we talk, we have fun, give each other a hug, say what's up, man. Like, it's family. See, that's what when I'm on the couch and I'm comfortable and I got a sweatshirt on and I'm laying back and we're talking and we're laughing and we're having a good time, that's family. That's all I need. That's all I need. I don't need anything, right? I don't need a certain drink or a certain food or a certain place or amount of money or this and that. It's about the blessings. When God puts a good soul in your life, that's a blessing. Spend your time around good souls. And when you're not around them, walk away. I would rather be alone. You know how many times I went to Disney by myself? Probably over 200. You want to know why? Because either the people that I love dearly couldn't go, right? They're not living in the state, or they were working, or whatever was going on. So either they couldn't go, or the people that could go were people that were not going to be great for me. Sometimes I was with somebody at Disney and I walked away from that person and be like, I don't want this drama. I came here to relax and have a good time. If you want to be like this, then by all means, I don't want to walk away, but I'm going to walk away for my peace. I'm going to walk over here. You go do your thing. You want to go be depressed and sad and stare at the ground at Disney for 5 hours? And you could do that anywhere. You could do that at home. But I want to go ride the rides. I want to go have fun. See, I don't want to waste time. I've done that. I've wasted time. I've been in bad relationships and I stayed. I've been around bad friendships and I stayed. I was in a workplace where I was like, what is this? This isn't good. This isn't me. And I stayed. Leave. Eventually I left, but leave. Right? Go after good things in life. Be happy, be fruitful, right? What good are we of helping others if we don't help ourselves? Right? If we're not healthy, how can we go help somebody be healthy? So get healthy, right? Because somebody in this world loves you, whether you believe it or not, they do. I say all the time, I aspire to be the father that my dog thinks I am, because she treats me like I'm perfect, and Jesus knows I'm not. But that doesn't mean I can't work to be the best I can possibly be, because it's not good enough that she sees me that way. I need to be that. I need to show up. I need to be a good father to her. I need to be consistent. I need to give her my time. I need to love her with everything I got and not just talk about it. So, think about that today. In the hourglass of life, where does your time go? We'll take a step aside. We'll come back with the top dog of the week right after this.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry-loving friend. Right, Lily?
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. God just finds a way of bringing everything together. Top dog of the week inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Happy to be here with you, hanging out on a Friday. Our trio of segments coming to you every Friday. The Annoying Moment of the Week, presented by Carvel DeWitt, the longest-standing Carvel franchise in America. Chick-fil-A Cicero, bringing you Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver is what the acronym stands for. And the Top Dog of the Week, proudly presented by the wonderful team at K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. And they are on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse. They are visible on Bridge Street, across from BJ's, visible from the highway, easy to get to. You can get more information by calling 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 for K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, the only place to bring your dog for daily care. And of course, you can go to K-9 Kamp.com. That's K-9 Kamp.com. This is an easy one for me. This is my guy. I got to give him love. I got to give him support. I got to give him respect. So I'm going to give you two. Jack Stonehouse is my top dog of the week. He's coming up here because he's just been awesome. He's a top dog of the year. Listen, special teams was a bright spot for Syracuse this season. And so my guy right here, Jack Stonehouse, beating his own record. He set the Syracuse single season record in yards per punt, and then he broke the record. So he created a new one, then he beat himself, and now it's 47.1 yards is the new record. 45.7 was when he broke the record last year in 2024, and then he broke it again in 2025, beating his record of 45.7 with 47.1. My other top dog of the week for this week. Man, I got to give it to not just one person, but to the people that run into the burning buildings, to the people that don't have to help but choose to help, to the people that see, an older person that's struggling to walk through the parking lot on the ice, and they run over to them and they hold their arm and they guide them into the grocery store, to the people that carry people's groceries, to like I said, the person that runs into the burning building when they hear somebody screaming, my child's in there, my cat's in there, my dog's in there, to, the everyday Good Samaritan. That's what I'm talking about. The people that help when they don't have to, they have no connection to it. It's not going to, it's not their loved one, it's not their house, it's not their situation, but they hear somebody in need and they help. Those are my top dogs of the week. The people that stick up for people, the people that are there for people, the people that don't want to see somebody hurt, the people that are not just going to stand there. Because you have to determine what person you are in life. Are you the person that's standing in a Starbucks and somebody gets punched in the face and they're laying on the ground, and you sit there and you just look at the person on the ground, you look at the wall, you pretend you can't see it, you go to the bathroom, you hide? Or are you the person that grabs the person on the ground and picks them up and says, hey, stop, to the other person that punched them, hey, knock it off, stop, not here, don't do this, right? Do you have to know the story to help somebody? Do you have to know? Or when somebody's thrown on the ground or punched in the face or spit on or had something dumped on them, you know what I mean? Because somebody might, well, maybe they deserve to get punched. It's like, hey, you know what? You're not God. You don't determine who deserves to get punched in the face. But if you saw somebody in peril, hurting, would you help them? Or would you just turn and look the other way and just hope that they give you your coffee order so you can run out? The Good Samaritans are the ones that help. They don't need to know the story. They don't need to know this and that. They just see somebody hurting, right? They see somebody hurting. Are you willing to help those people? Are you willing to help the person that's bleeding on the ground? You know? What are you going to go into it, walk by an alley, see a man or a woman bleeding on the ground and go, well, I need to know the story to decide what, or, I mean, by the time you figure out what the story, they could be dead. You think Jesus was like, hey, sit here and tell me all about you and what you've done in your life and all your sins, and I'll decide whether or not I'm going to stop you from bleeding out? Or did he just go help people? Right? Are you going to help an animal? Or are you going to go, well, I'm a dog person, and I know that cat, if I don't go get it, is going to get hit on the highway, but it's a cat. If it was a dog, then maybe I would. Or do you just help? Are you one of those, well, it's not my kid? Or do you just help? So to all my Good Samaritans out there, that just help. That don't need to know the story, that don't need to know this side and that side, and what's this and what's that, but they just see a person in peril, a person in pain, a person in need, a person that is down. And they just help. You're my top dogs of the week. Because your good deed toward a total stranger might be the thing that stands between them and taking their own life, between them and giving up, between them and losing it. You have no idea what a good deed can do in someone's life until you're in a place of pain, peril. You feel down and out, and somebody does a good deed toward you. And you just sit there and cry and think to yourself, wow. Wow. Be the Good Samaritan. Be the Good Samaritan. We will all, at some point in our lives, be blessed by a Good Samaritan. I'm not saying I wish bad on you, me, or anybody. I don't. I don't wish bad on the people that wish bad on me. Because that's not God. That's not what he would want me to do. And why do I want to go against my Father, my brother, and my spirit to get even? The flesh wants to get even. The spirit says, it's not about getting even. It's about knowing God is the judge, and I am not. Knowing that I have been hurt, God saw it too, and I can spend the rest of my life seeking revenge, or I can go live. Because again, the hourglass, right? The more time you spend focusing on the people that wronged you, the less time is in your hourglass. So, my top dogs of the week are all my Good Samaritans. I appreciate you. I send you my love. And I ask you to keep going. And I pray that a Good Samaritan blesses you, Good Samaritan. Because at the end of our lives, at the end of Otis's life, that we got to honor this week, and Violet, we hope that God simply says one sentence. Well done, good and faithful servant. We'll take a step aside inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We'll be back with my special with Jack Stonehouse. Don't miss a second. It's coming up right after this. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, you know, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, you know, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Kaz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point, because you get a little something different at each one. You know, we understand how hard it is to, you know, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. You know the Great Lakes Honda City comes to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York, open for sales and service Monday through Saturday. And if you want a sneak peek of their inventory as well as all the deals that they have going on right now, go to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. I am picture in picture with somebody that I easily became a fan of over the years in my coverage of my hometown of Syracuse, New York, and your Syracuse Orange football program. That is none other than the man, Jack Stonehouse. You see that Stoney is what we're seeing here in the corner. But Jack, you know, what I love beyond his talent is Jack has always been himself. He dresses the way he wants to dress. He talks the way he wants to talk. He acts the way he wants to act, and he's consistent. And in a world where everybody talks about, oh, I'm just going to be me, and I'm going to... So many people are whatever they think the internet wants them to be, where Jack Stonehouse is who he wants to be, and if you like it, great, and if you don't, that's okay too, like he told me before. Syracuse Orange punter alum heading to the 2026 NFL Draft, and I can say that rarely have I ever felt this confident that a Syracuse specialist was going to be picked in the NFL Draft as I do right now. Mr. Stonehouse, how are we doing today?
Good, thank you. I appreciate those kind words. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, man. Listen, I'm happy to say it because I believe it. And I want to go back to something I was talking to you about during the season, and I just spoke to my dad about. I said, I can't get over the fact that during a game, Jack went and punted the ball, and it almost hits that giant sound system, display system in the middle of the dome. I said to my dad, I asked Jack about it because I've also been to AT&T Stadium, the home of the Cowboys, and they have their giant system in the middle. And I said to my dad, I asked Jack about hitting it and what he thought about it. And I said, Jack's response was, well, they told me that during a game, they've suggested that I don't. But that you also said you kind of do want to hit it, and you have the ability to hit it. So I would just like to go into that a little bit deeper, how they came up to you and said, hey, try not to do that, when I truly believe that you could probably hit it every time if you wanted to.
Yeah, it was during a spring practice. I had always said before I leave, I have to hit it, and I knew I could. So I just had to figure out where on the field I could stand to where the ball was at its peak height when it's hitting it. So I found out that if I was on the 10-yard line and my snapper was snapping it to me, that was the perfect place to be. I ended up hitting it a couple of times, and I have the video of it on Instagram. And right after I hit it, a man came up to me and said hey, I'm John, and I was oh nice, I'm Jack. And then he was just you should probably stop doing that because the tiles are going to fall off if you keep hitting it. So I took that as a warning, and I just stopped doing it.
Do you have any thoughts about the Dallas Cowboys in the NFL, knowing that that would be another arena in AT&T Stadium where you can have an opportunity of hitting their giant video audio board?
Yeah, the Cowboys would be awesome. I was just texting JB like an hour ago talking to him about it. But yeah, I mean, obviously any opportunity would be awesome, but the Cowboys close to home, that'd be cool.
You said you were just recently texting JB, Justin Barron. We've obviously missed him on the team, on the Syracuse Orange. What can you say about what he's told you about his road to the NFL and maybe any advice he's given you in this process?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much like any other job. It's a hard job. You have to wake up every day and just be ready to go and try your best and excel at it. So I know he's doing good. He loves it down there. And I'm just, it's really the same advice as you would give or get from anyone else from any other job. You have to wake up, be happy that you're doing it. And I mean, like, you get the opportunity to go out there. So I know he loves football, so I know he loves what he's doing.
Yeah, and we talk about different schools being the U of something, right? Punter U, I'm going to make my argument here for Syracuse. Riley Dixon, who is still in the NFL, who came from Christian Brothers Academy down the road from Syracuse University, my alma mater. So Riley Dixon, Rob Long, who in my opinion would have absolutely made it if he wasn't going through brain surgery at the time, and he's been doing phenomenal. God bless him on that, and may he continue. So Riley Dixon, Rob Long, Sterling Hoffrichter, now you. I know there's others in history, but to name a few, what does it mean to you to come to a school, and did you do any research when you were transferring into Syracuse, looking where to transfer to? Did you look at the fact that Riley Dixon was in the NFL, that Rob Long had a shot with the Cleveland Browns, and so on and so forth, and that Sterling Hoffrichter as well was a guy who did everything? He was a kicker and a punter.
Yeah, at that time in the portal, like, my biggest thing was like, okay, I just really want a scholarship. And that's what I was coming from, a school without a scholarship. So that was like my biggest thing. And then I went on my visit and I signed like the next week. And right as I signed, I quickly learned about all of those guys. Like, when I came in, that was when Dino was still here. He was talking to me about him. Riley had reached out. Sterling had reached out. Rob had reached out. So I was like quickly learning. And that kind of put, like, I was more happy that I didn't know, because maybe I would have felt the pressure when I did sign. But right when I signed, they all reached out. And I've spoken to all of them, and yeah, I mean, it's a good line to have. I can reach out to all of them. So
yeah, and like you said, I mean, when it took you just a little bit of time to make that decision, you were coming from a place at Missouri where you didn't have a scholarship, you wanted a scholarship. When you jump into the portal, what was it about Syracuse? Did they reach out to you right away? I mean, I know you said I want a scholarship, but what made you commit to Syracuse so quickly?
Yeah, at the time, Coach Legashevsky was also here. He was the coordinator. He had recruited me in high school and my cousin. I knew that he had NFL experience, and he was just an all-around good guy. So when I had that opportunity, he flew out immediately, and we got to talk a little bit, and then he told me to come out to Syracuse. And at that point, Brady Denenberg was here. He was my visit guy. So I just got along with everybody. And I knew that Coach Legashevsky was such a good coach, and I wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah, and like you said, you came in the Dino Babers era and with Coach Legashevsky. What do you want to say about Coach Babers and Coach Leg? Obviously, they've moved on from Syracuse, but they were a part of your decision to coming in. So what words do you have for Coach Babers as well as Coach Legashevsky?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate them both. They gave me the option to, obviously, the opportunity to come to Syracuse, and that's what I needed. I think in my path to pan out the way that it did, I think just an opportunity is what I needed. So forever grateful for that, because I wouldn't have been at Syracuse if it wasn't for them.
What made you stay? Coaching change can bring about new coordinators, which you've had. It can bring about obviously a coach that maybe appreciates you, maybe they don't. You don't know what you're going to get. So what was it in that transitionary period of learning? Did you kind of just say to yourself, hey, I'm at least going to hear out Fran Brown. I'm going to see what he has to say. I'm going to see who he hires. Like, bring me through the process of I'm going to wait it out and get a feel for this new staff instead of just jumping into the portal. Or did you think about jumping into the portal?
Yeah, I think with how it all kind of panned out, Fran came in right away, and I really did like him. I liked his hard work. I liked his work ethic, and he was kind of just like nothing really flies. Like everything's going to be down on paper, and that's exactly what we're going to do. And I respected that. I didn't have any ideas of going into the portal because in the specialist world, like if you move once, then it's like you most likely have to stay, unless there's some crazy circumstance. But I think being faithful to one team is like a big thing. So I made that change once, and being faithful to that team because I chose them was like a big thing for me. And then when it came to getting a coordinator and all of that, like I said, Fran had asked me to sit down and call the coaches. So I was a part of that situation there. And I just like how he respected me. He came in, he understood that I had punted before in game, and he saw some leadership there. So I gotta be a leader this last year, which was cool. But he respected me, I respected him, and I think that's just how football goes. I mean, if he has that certain level of respect and trust in me, then I have the same for him, and that's all you need as a specialist, to go out there knowing that your head coach is okay and knows that you're going to go do well.
You said that Fran had you call the coaches. Who did you have you call, or who did he have you call, and what was that kind of before he hired them, like call these guys, see what you think, or was this like after he had hired them?
Yeah, this was before. I'm not sure if he would want me to say who I was calling, but this was before they were all hired.
So you were calling like different options he had as a special teams coordinator.
Correct.
Okay. So bring me into kind of that. I mean, like, so he tells you, here's my names of guys I may hire. Before I make the decision, I want my punter to call and see what you think of each of these gentlemen. Bring me into that process.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it was. I hopped on the phone with all of the candidates, I guess, and I just had a conversation like, hey, what do you like to do in punt? Like, what's your schemes? What would you do in scenarios? And it was really more just to get to know them, to see if like I could go to practice every day and be like, okay, yeah, this is my coach. And I had a good feeling of everyone else on the special teams, they're in the specialist room. And obviously I had to take into account for all of them. It wasn't just me. But yeah, I mean, I really just sat down and got to learn about all of the guys. And at the end of the day, it was Fran's ultimate decision. So at the end of the day, it didn't even really matter what I thought, but he allowed me to be a part of that. And yeah, I mean, he chose Brumfield at that time. And yeah, I mean, it worked out.
Were there any other specialists that he had make those phone calls, or was it just you?
I believe it was just me.
So I can tell you I've been broadcasting for over 22 years. I don't think there's ever been a time where a student athlete told me that a coach had them call their candidates before they hired somebody. So,
yeah,
I mean, I would think that that's a feather in your cap. And what do you want to say to Fran that he even involved you in that process?
That's exactly like what I mean. Like he's a good guy. Like he's a good man. He knows how to like make people feel like they are wanted. And that was like that was big for me. Like you don't want to just go throughout like your college career and just think, oh, the head coach has no idea who I am. He knows who I was. He respected me and he put trust in me. So, I mean, that was what I could, that's all you can ask for as a student athlete. Just have a head coach that really cares and cares about your future, right? That's why he did it. He cares about our futures.
Did he pick your guy?
Yes.
So like hand on a Bible, you chose Ricky Brumfield?
Yes.
Why did you choose him?
I mean, he had experience in the ACC, and I mean, when we talked, I mean, we just connected. Brumfield's a good guy, so whenever we were talking on the phone, like he was just like an easygoing, and then when you talk about special teams, boom, it wasn't easygoing anymore. It was serious. It was hard work, and that's what I like.
So it's kind of bittersweet, right? You finish up your time at Syracuse and you find out that Ricky Brumfield's not the special teams coordinator anymore. So you had him, but he's no longer there. How did you handle that news? Because it's not going to affect you directly, but obviously, like you said, he's a good guy and you enjoyed working with him. He was your pick when you called all the candidates. So how do you kind of look at the situation of him not being there, but the fact that you still got to work with him?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think a head coach has to do what a head coach has to do, whether that be make changes or not. I'm not involved in that, obviously, but I will always be able to text and call Coach Brumfield. Same with Coach Fran. So obviously, Fran's decisions are Fran's decisions. He's a head coach. He has to make some hard decisions. So I respect it, and that's just kind of, I guess, how the game of football goes.
Yeah. So, I mean, for you, if you were to reach out to Ricky right now, what would you want to say to him after spending all this time with him?
Yeah, right when I found out, I had texted him and I just said, I appreciate everything you did. Thank you for kind of like turning around our punt team. We did well this year. Like we had a good punt team. So thank you for turning that around. And I just respected everything that he did. And he knows that. He knows that I respect him and I have a lot of love for him because he did that.
And as you step forward, you look back on this season at Syracuse. Obviously, the last couple of years, very different. Fran's first year, the team goes 10-3. You go to a bowl game. You win the bowl game. I was out with you guys in San Diego at Snapdragon Stadium against Washington State. And then you see this season where it's the opposite, right? And you finish the season 3-9, almost exactly the record, but flip the other way. However, special teams wasn't the problem. You did your job. You did what you had to do. Our snappers handled their business. We saw a better kicking game than I think maybe we've seen last year to this year. And then you look at, obviously, the fact of you doing what you needed to do, Jack. So how do you assess a season where the team doesn't ultimately do well, but you did fantastic? I mean, I told you I vote in the ACC, a lot of the different ACC awards, and it wasn't because you're part of my hometown. It was literally, look, I spent an hour and a half going through all the ACC positions and everything. And when I got to punter and we had the opportunity to vote, I looked at who was available. I looked at what they did. I looked at what you did. And, I mean, you're the all-star. In my opinion, you're the number one pick off of this year's team of the work that you did. So how do you navigate a season where special teams did well, but the team overall did not?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I think that being in that position is bittersweet, right? Like I got to go punt and our team, our punt team did well, our special teams did well. And at the end of the day, like we're just like every other kid on the team. Like we want to win, but we have to go do our job. So it's not like, it's just like every other position where when you go out there, you have to do the best that you possibly can. And whether you win or lose, you just have to keep on doing it every single week. So would I have liked to have won more games? Sure. Every athlete ever would say that. But I mean, I trust Fran. He's building a great football team next year. And and we're still in the building phases of making that football team. So I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, I would have loved more wins, but at the end of the day, more importantly, just go out there, do my job, and that's all I can do.
I got to ask you about this because it has to do with something that Fran said to me. I asked him right before the season, I said, why, beyond talent, beyond arm strength, what was it about Steve that separated Steve Angeli from Ricky Collins Jr.? And he looked at me and he said, he has made a relationship with every single person on the team. That's what he said. He said he's built a relationship literally individually, like with everybody. What can you say about Steve Angeli, the relationship he built with you, and what that means? Because not every quarterback is that way, right? Not every quarterback's going to go out to the punter and want to have a meal with you or talk with you. So what can you say to attest to that point that Fran made and just who Steve Angeli is?
Yeah, Steve's just a good guy in general. Like, he's just a guy that you want to be around. But yeah, I mean, when Steve came in, we were hanging out on the weekends. We actually got into playing some golf game on the Xbox. But he's just a good guy. Like, you wouldn't know that, like, he would just come in and he's like the starting quarterback. Like, he doesn't have that, like, he doesn't have that ego. He's just coming in as a normal dude and he just wants to play some football. So, and especially as being a leader, when he came in, he was always the guy talking in the huddles. And when we would break it up from our runs, he was always the one to speak. So that's what you want. You just want someone that's confident in what they do and confident in the team.
Why did you listen to Steve as a team?
I mean, he had that kind of like swag, I guess. Like, he just came in and like, obviously, if you're a quarterback, you have to be somewhat of a leader. But when he came in, it was just like, that's someone I would listen to because of his work ethic. Like, when we were in the weight room, he was doing everything that we were doing. Sometimes you don't see that with quarterbacks. And I mean, it was just like, I want to listen to that guy. He's a good leader. He's a good dude. And in football, when it comes down to football, it's business for him. So that's what I liked.
So beyond his leadership, how have you grown as a leader? When the NFL looks at you, they're going to be looking for leadership. Again, you're not your typical punter. I mean, people know who you are. And if you're covering Syracuse, you know Jack Stonehouse. There's a way about you. You said there's a swagger about Steve. There's just something about him in the room. I would say there's something unique about you in the room as well. So what can you say about how you've grown as a leader and what an NFL team would be getting?
Yeah, I think yes, like I am myself, and I think there's time for jokes and time not to joke. I think off the field, I'm very like myself, like whatever, and then when I get on the field, it's football. Like that's I like to lead by example. So on the football field, I'm always doing drills. I'm always doing something, and that's just to show, like, hey, I'm not just here to stand here, and then when punt period comes, I'm just going to magically be ready. Like, I'm here to work. In the weight room, I went as hard as I can. Coach Smith, the head strength coach, I love that guy. He pushed me to be the best that I could be. So I think being able to speak up or speak your mind is big to be a leader, but also like saying, okay, I'm going to shut up and just work. I think that's more of what I bring. Like, I'm going to do my job to the best of my ability, and I'm going to show you through work.
Yeah, and you know, to see your work ethic, you set the record for Syracuse. And we talk about all these great punters that have come through the history and guys that are in the NFL. Your average per punt last year set the record at Syracuse. For every punter in the history of Syracuse football, all these decades, you set the new record with 45.7 yards per punt. Then you just, went out there and you beat yourself with 47.1 this year. And not only that, but you punted 33 times last season. This season you punted 59 times. So you're punting almost double the amount of time, and you're getting better with the more work that you're doing. You equaled your long of 64 yards from the last couple seasons, and you had your most yards ever with 2,780 yards. I said to my dad, I wish that Jack Stonehouse's foot could count as a hand, because he had almost 3,000 yards. So bring me into setting the all-time Syracuse yard per punt record, and then the next season going, you know what? I'm going to try and add a yard or two onto that. And so now you've beaten yourself, and you have the number 1 and number 2 all-time records.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as going to the next level, I think it's really important to show that like every year you get better, right? So it doesn't show that you've met your ceiling yet. So that was really important for me to do better every single year. I obviously was not going out there my first year and saying, hey, I'm going to average low so I can beat it. But it's also situational, right? So
Yeah.
I was able to go out there and punt the ball long. And some years, some games, you might be only having the opportunity to punt and pin them inside the 20. So I had that opportunity. And I think it's just growing, right? I felt so comfortable punting at Syracuse, like that genuinely, like I could walk into that stadium and just know, okay, like I'm super comfortable. And I think growing into that really helped me. So, but yeah, when it comes to breaking the averages and all of that, it's really cool. And it's cool to be a part of that. But at the end of the day, I think just like being able to help the team as much as possible was like the biggest thing that I could have done.
Well, and I mean, there's an art to doing this that people don't understand, right? They're like, okay, you just take the ball, you kick it, and that's all you got to do. And it's like, no, you have to understand so many different things. Now, you spend half your season without the elements, and you spend, because you're in a dome, and then you spend the other half of the season in it. What can you tell me about the art of the dance of punting and just, spin on the ball, where you hit it, just your timing, everything that you get down to understand your hang time, to understand knowing, okay, when I let it go, that this is how long it's going to be in the air because I need it to drop. I mean, you talk about golfing in the video game with Steve Angeli, which is kind of like what you're doing with your foot, right? You have to know that you're going to lift that ball up into the air and you got to know where it's going to fall. When you do it over and over again so successfully and you're averaging in multiple games over half the field that you're kicking this ball, and your 47.1 is almost averaging half the field every time for this entire season, what can you say about just the technique and the art of the dance? Because you know where to place it, you know how to place it, and you give your special teams an opportunity to run it down before it gets into the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would just have to be like training. Like obviously my dad had punted, so I had a very accessible coach at all times, and I started when I was younger.
Yeah.
So being able to be trained at such a young age and just feel comfortable throughout was like a big thing for me. And also, like I always say this, but really is muscle memory. Like if you say like, okay, I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna hang time. We do this at practice. Like me and Matea, the other punter on the roster, who's a true freshman, would go out there and say, okay, this ball is going to be at least 4:48 and at least 4.8 seconds. And if not, we have to run or do push-ups, whatever it may be. So it's kind of like we were betting against each other. But being able to just go out there and say like, yeah, I'm going to do that is just all muscle memory. It's training. It's been whatever, 8 years or 9 years, whatever it's been, of doing the same thing over and over and over again. It would just be like if Steve went out on the field and said, hey, I'm going to throw it at this target and then hit the target.
It seems, it's almost like I said, it's almost like golf. It feels impossible that you can let this thing go. And you said muscle memory and repetition and all that experience. But, I mean, can you literally say to yourself, okay, I need this to go 32 yards, not 33. And I know what to do and how to place it. I mean, are you that technique and that nuanced to be able to like thread the needle, so to speak?
Yeah, that's another thing that we also practice. You throw a trash can out there where it's like 2x2 in radius, and you try to make it in there. So having that control is also repetition, but it's also like that in that sense, it's like golf. Like, hey, like you need to know like how hard you can swing your leg, or if you point your toe or not, or if the ball's down, if the ball's sideways, if the ball's straight. There's a lot of different things that you can do to influence where the ball goes.
And last season, it seemed like there was not a lot of blocking happening for you, right? It seemed like the technique was off because you were doing your job, but you weren't given a lot of time. What changed this year that we didn't see those opportunities of guys getting, because you have to trust your snapper, you have to trust the guys that are blocking for you so that you can do your job the way that you want to do it. So what can you say was fixed, adjusted, altered this year under Brumfield that made this special teams blocking better so that you can handle your job?
I think it was just more detailed. I think when Brumfield came in, everyone listened and everyone sat down and said, "Okay, we need to fix this." A lot of the guys on the punt team were my friends, both years, both carried over. So they obviously care about me and want to do the best, and they know that special teams is important. I think we made that a really big emphasis this year. Like, hey, special teams can affect the game. So when we came in this year, like I was obviously like, hey, we gotta fix this, we gotta figure this out. And those guys care about me just as much as I care about them. So they wanted to figure it out too. But yeah, I mean, we understood the problem and we fixed it. That was, I mean, it wasn't like we tried not to make it such a big thing, because at the end of the day, if we know our jobs, then we can do our jobs.
What do you want to say to your blockers, your snappers, the people that you've had with you at Syracuse, the ones that are the unsung heroes that don't get spoken about enough?
Yeah, they really don't get spoken about enough, especially the long snapper, Ethan. He's one of my best friends. He got down the field. He forced a lot of fair catches. So, and that doesn't get talked about. But all the blockers, I mean, like I said, they're really all my friends, like off the field. So when we go out there and we do good, then we all know that, like, yeah, like we're gonna be texting later and whatever, hanging out, talking about it. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I appreciate them because they allowed me to do my job.
Yeah, and I mean, and do it and do the job very, very well. As you reflect, do you feel like you left it all on the field, Jack? I mean, is there anything that you feel like you haven't showed the NFL yet from the tape at Syracuse?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing that I could say is that I'm planning on just getting better. Like, I know I haven't reached my ceiling. I know I can get better. And this is what this offseason, or what this kind of little offseason that I have, is for. So just perfect my craft with the NFL balls and show that I'm just going to get better, and my work ethic is going to stay the same. And hopefully I can show that with the East-West game.
Yeah, and you led me right into it, the East-West Shrine Bowl. You have the opportunity in this all-star game that features so many in the college world that are trying to make it to the NFL. Bring me into just how you found out that you got the invite to the East-West Shrine Bowl, accepting that invitation, and just bringing me through the process of what's going to be going on here at the end of January for you in the East-West Shrine Bowl.
Yeah, right now it's just, I mean, working out and punting. Right now I'm doing like a little 2-week break of punting, but other than that, I mean, I'm basically still in season. It's like I just have a 2-week bye week. But yeah, I mean, I found out I got the box at the end of one of the practices, and Fran presented it to me. That was cool to be around all the guys. And then I ended up accepting it because I actually had my cousin went to the East-West game, and I believe my father and uncle did. So that was like cool for me to be able to, one, get an extra game, right? Like, it made me feel like, okay, like it's not over yet. Like, I still have one more opportunity to go show that I can do this. And two, I mean, this is what I've always dreamed of, just having one more chance, one more goal, or one more opportunity to go show and try to meet my goal.
Yeah, and like you brought up when you talked about your family and the fact that, I mean, it's not just your dad. I mean, yes, your dad, John, is a punter at USC and in the NFL for the New York Giants. Your mom played soccer at UCLA. Your cousin Ryan was a punter at Colorado State and is in the NFL now. And your Uncle Paul punted at Stanford. So there's a lot to be said about punting in the family. And then if I include Mom, hey, the way you kick the ball, we talk about soccer and that's connection to it and the footwork and the technique. There's something in the Stonehouse blood and those that married into the family. So I kind of feel like this is like a Game of Thrones, that if you're marrying into the Stonehouse family, you have to have the blood of another family that can also kick the ball.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's exactly true. And I have all my other siblings, they all play college sports. My two sisters played soccer in college, and my brother's at Xavier playing baseball right now. So it was kind of an unwritten rule for our family that you need to play a D1 sport.
So what's wrong with your brother? What happened to him that he's playing a sport where you have to hit the ball but you're not kicking it? What happened?
Yeah, right. I mean, I think he just fell in love with baseball at a young age, and we tried to do it, but he didn't want to. So I think that was kind of it. I think my dad was happy with just one of us punting. So, but he did try to get Josh, my younger brother, to punt, but he's very good at baseball, so he decided to stick with that.
So your younger brother Josh, yourself. What are your sisters' names?
Is Brooke, my oldest sister, she played soccer at Toledo, and then Jessie, my youngest sister, she plays soccer at Sacred Heart.
So you have Brooke, you have Jessie, you have Josh, you have yourself.
Yes.
I want you to rank athletes in your family. I want you to get yourself in trouble. I want you to rank your siblings and you. So Brooke, Jessie, Josh, and yourself. I want you to rank it. Don't worry, they won't see it. They will. But
that is like a huge fight in our family all the time. We always say that. So I'm going to say that question without saying it out loud because I know my siblings will hear it. But I'm going to go myself, Jessie,
okay,
Josh, then Brooke.
Okay, why did you pick that order?
Me and Jessie and I have always said, or we're self-proclaimed as the top. So me and Jessie are interchangeable. And then I guess me and Jessie just both decided Josh was next and Brooke was last.
So you and Jessie have had this conversation before?
Yes, we've all had this conversation. At the end of the day, I really do think that all of us are good athletes and we could compete in anything. So I don't want to get myself in too much trouble.
If you and Josh had to play soccer, which one of you would be better? What do you think Brooke and Jessie would say?
If it was just me versus Josh?
Yeah.
I think I got that. I think I can do that.
And then if Brooke, Jessie, and Josh punted, who would you put your money on?
Jessie. Or Josh. But Jessie has a strong leg.
Okay. And then if Brooke, Jessie, and yourself were standing at the plate, who would you think would hit a home run first?
None of us. I have no idea.
I like that.
I can't say myself for that because I know I won't be able to do it.
Fair enough. So there you go. Josh, you get some love. You've been redeemed on the show. So Jack,
exactly.
Tell me why the NFL, they have 32 franchises. It's very hard to get in, especially as a punter or a specialist in general. But we know that there are teams that need them. There are some teams that have found the right one and held on for dear life. There's other ones that are looking for the guy. Only 32 jobs in the NFL when it comes to being a punter, and less than those are going to be made available. Why should the NFL say, Jack Stonehouse, for our team, will you be our punter?
Yeah, I mean, I'm energetic. I have a good work ethic, and I really do think that like I'm just going to keep on getting better. That's like what I can say, that I'm going to keep on trying new things. I'm going to keep on trying new ways to punt. And at the end of the day, I think that like what you see is what you get. Like we said at the beginning of the show, that I try to be myself at all times, and I'm not going to change for just to look like I'm someone else. I am what I am. Obviously, when it comes to football, I'm more business than not. But I'm going to keep on trying to get better. And I mean, I just want a shot. I don't need the craziest deal of all time. I just want an opportunity to show that I can do it, and I do belong there.
Amen to that. Well, let's play some rapid fire. We get to put each other on the hot seat. Any topic, any question. This is going to be fun for me because I enjoy this gentleman's personality and who he is. So I have no idea what he's going to ask me. He doesn't know what I'm going to ask him. Jack, what's your first question for me?
Who is your favorite NFL football team?
The Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah.
Why?
And why? I wanted my own team. I like Fred Taylor. And I don't know, I just kind of fell in love with it. Florida's a second home, and I just was kind of drawn to them, drawn to their logo, and I've been with them since they came in '95. I'm going to ask you this. I know that you'll say any one of the 32, but if you had to pick, I know your dad was a New York Giant. Who is your favorite NFL team?
Honestly, boring answer, but really, any of the 32, really. I wouldn't have a problem with any of them. So I feel like there's no right or wrong way to answer that.
Yeah, that's very true. I will say to the NFL, that's the phone call you need to make. And when you're making that specialist decision, that's the one you need to do. And when people say, you used that pick at that time, why'd you do that? And then years later, Jack Stonehouse shows you why, because he's been there consistently, just like he did it for Syracuse. What's your next question for me?
If you weren't a Syracuse fan, who would be your college team?
For football?
For football.
Oh, man, there's so many teams that I cover. And I, by the grace of God, have had the opportunity to cover teams all over the country, build relationships, get care packages from a bunch of them. So, oh man, if I had to pick one, besides Syracuse, who would be my team? Mother, this is so difficult. I'm gonna have to pick the coach that I have a lot of. See, this is so hard because I have a close relationship with a lot of coaches around the country. But this guy sent me a care package. I said, could you send me a shirt or a hat so I could just, rock it? He sent me a massive box filled with 15 pieces of clothing. And he loves the fact that I wear these in Syracuse. So don't get mad at me, Jack, because I know you play them. But I got to say my guy, Rhett Lashley, in the SMU Mustangs. I got to say the Stangs, man, because I love Dallas, too. So I got to say the Stangs.
That's awesome.
Are you okay with
cool.
that? Are you all right?
I'm okay with that. I'll let that slide.
All right. My question to you is, I have seen you do interviews in the Nightmare Before Christmas pajamas. If you could pick 3 outfits all time to wear to an interview, what would those 3 be and why?
You can never go wrong with pajamas and a sweatshirt. I actually was wearing those pajamas right before this.
Okay.
And so I would say pajamas and sweatshirt. And I'd go cowboy boots, jeans, and a nice t-shirt. And my nice t-shirts are probably not as nice as everyone else's, but just a nice t-shirt. And then I'd say like if it was sunny out, I would rock like a bathing suit and maybe a long sleeve. I like to have one pair of long sleeves, whether it be pants or shirt at all times. I don't know why, but I tend to do that a lot.
So you got to be long, short, or short, long.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. What's your final question for me?
Why did you choose to do what you do?
God put it on my heart. I love people. I like bringing people together, being positive, being honest, being a place that people can trust. I love helping people to feel seen, appreciated, respected. I love building relationships. I love making people laugh. So it's kind of like if you throw that all into a pot, this is what you get. You get a guy who's unafraid, unapologetic to go out there, praise God, be a person that you can trust and feel comfortable and safe with. And I mean, you should know it as well as everybody at Syracuse and all the teams that I cover, is I would hope that when you guys come out and they say, oh, you're talking to Dan today, that you know what that means. That's what
that's awesome.
My question back to you, Jack, if you took over my show for the day and it was Wake Up Call with Jack Stonehouse, who would be your 3 guests that you would feature and why?
Could I choose anyone of all time?
Anybody.
Ooh. 3 of all time. Probably Zach Top, a country singer.
Okay.
I want to get to know him.
Okay.
Maybe like Marquette King. I think I want to get to like his insight on like what he did and what he would have changed. I think that would be cool. And last, I would go This is hard because I know I'm going to look back at this and have three totally different answers that I would have wanted to say. Last, I would say it doesn't matter who, but probably just a freshman on the football team that like I didn't talk to as much as I would want. I would want to like understand their process and like what they would have thought like would be different or could be different. And like I think it would just be cool to say like, hey, like we didn't get to talk that much this season. Like, what's your story? I think that would be cool.
I like that. Going back and saying, where can I build relationships that I haven't yet? Jack Stonehouse here with us, Syracuse Orange punter, heading to the 2026 NFL Draft. Before that, the East-West Shrine Bowl, and of course, Pro Day, hopefully the NFL Combine as well for Jack Stonehouse. Jack, I have two questions. They're extremely important. One, will you come back on the show in your road to the NFL Draft?
Yes, 100%.
And the second question, you can see behind me that I have some jerseys up here around me in the studio. I have things that connect me to the people that I care about. That Stryevsky, I promised John Stryevsky, who was the the kicker for the University of Delaware for the Blue Hens. He was Joe Flacco's kicker. I said to him, can I get a jersey? He went to the Arena Football League. I literally think, because that jersey was like damp when I got it, I think he took it off from the game, signed it, and sent it to me. So I'm going to ask you this, Mr. Stonehouse. I do not have a Syracuse punter anything. Can you become part of my Wall of Fame, and can I get something from Jack Stonehouse to say that I believed before the NFL gave you a jersey?
Yes, I can 100% do that, for sure.
All right. Well, I'm going to hold you to that because people are going to be looking for it behind me. So with that being said, Jack Stonehouse going to the NFL in just a few months. Jack, I appreciate you. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Take care of Callie for us, and I'll look forward to talking with you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing, and so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in. And then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and then those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbeeville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. Avicoli's Restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicoli's.com. That's myavicoli's.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K-9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K-9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to K9Campground.com as well. That's K9 ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K-9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K-9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvelange, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Find your way over to GG Cards and Breaks today, and every Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. Great place to go for your Christmas and holiday shopping, and of course a great place to go to be a big kid. It doesn't matter what your age is. When you go to GG Cards and Breaks, you get closer to the players and the teams and the characters that you love, the games you love. You'll find Disney Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, as well as One Piece while supplies last, and hockey, soccer, basketball, baseball, football. They have every NFL, every NBA, and every MLB team in their own box on the back wall, where you'll find potentially numbered cards, autograph cards, rookie cards, and so much more. GG Cards and Breaks is a place for your eyes to just kind of dance all over and find really, really amazing things. There's nothing like the sports card and trading card world. It's unique. I'm happy that I had the opportunity through my family to get to know it as a kid, and after getting to know it as a kid, to be able to share that with, my family, and to share it today with my nephew, which I'm very excited about that. So go and make a memory today at GG Cards and Breaks, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Big time shout out to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, the largest Chick-fil-A that I've ever seen in my life. It looks like a Chick-fil-A warehouse. The giant brick building with the double drive-through is waiting for you on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. Go and see them today. Let them know the DT sent you. Megan Sorber and her team are doing an incredible job at Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. And not only do they have all of the favorites that you love at Chick-fil-A, whether you're a spicy fan, an original fan, or a grilled fan of their chicken, but right now they have the peppermint chip shake, and you know I'm all about that. Go out there to Chick-fil-A DeWitt, get that today and more. And of course, always use the Chick-fil-A app. Corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard, Chick-fil-A is waiting for you. With that being said, here on the show, I want to thank you for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. I can't believe that the show's already done for today. I felt like that one flew right by on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. So appreciate you being here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe. We also appreciate you being with us in our show app world. So you'll find us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube, as well as podchaser.com. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Big time thanks to our incredible team of partners in Central and Upstate New York. Of course, our show reaches out from my community to your community. We've been able to reach people from all over the country and the world, and it all starts from my hometown. It's the blessing of both worlds, right? To be able to build your company in the place you grew up in your hometown, and build up your hometown community while also building your brand across the country and the world. And I thank God for that every single day. Great Lakes, Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Brakes, Myers Creek, with 2 locations, one on the countryside on 33 Rippleton Road in Kaz, as well as in the Syracuse Inner Harbor, right outside of the city of Syracuse, and very centrally located to many different things, including the new aquarium that's coming up, 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse, New York. Chick-fil-A Cicero, the first ever Chick-fil-A in Central New York. Avicoli's, K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. Mon Paz, the snack capital of the world. Pizza Man, Mother's Cupboard, the home of my signature breakfast sandwich exclusively at Mother's Cupboard. Bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Cut it up and have it with some syrup. Pick it up and eat it like a sandwich. An all-new broadcast of From Mother's Cupboard to Table, coming to you with Jim Dispenza and myself, Dan Tortora, from Mother's Cupboard, while he's enjoying the giant pancake and I'm enjoying the Cuse Mac Mother, which is the name of my sandwich. K-9 Campground Dog Boarding, Brian's Landing, Pizza Man, as well as Avicoli's, and of course we are and Chick-fil-A DeWitt, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. Your Bobcats are with us every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bobcats, student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining us here in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership all throughout the year and each month here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We appreciate y'all for being here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, celebrating your Bobcats. You can find it all by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our BSC Syracuse playlist. The Bobcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We appreciate you being here with us, celebrating the Bearcats every single Tuesday. during Bearcat time, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Worldwide, you will find your Binghamton University Bearcats here on Wake Up Call. Student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni. Make sure you go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. The Onondaga Community College Lasers are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your lasers every single month, every other Wednesday on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. That's bi-monthly here on the show. Every other Wednesday, you will find the lasers with us at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Student athletes, coaches, and administration joining the show to tell the story of the Onondaga Community College Lasers. Can't say enough about the Lasers and the opportunity to work with them, and it's something that means a lot to me, something that's been on my mind for a long time, and I'm happy to have this passion project that reaches all the way back to when Rob Edson was the athletic director, and now Mike Borsch over at Onondaga Community College. So make sure you check it out by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our OCC playlist. The Lasers are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to onondagalazers.com. And as always, go Lasers. I want to thank you for tuning into this week of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Appreciate you so very much for being here. I want to thank Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week. Chick-fil-A Cicero for lead. Today's topic in Learn, Evolve, Adlib, and Deliver is where does your time go? The top dog of the week celebrating Good Samaritans, as well as Jack Stonehouse, proudly presented by K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, and of course, my multi-layered special with the punter heading into the NFL draft after setting a record and then breaking his own record and setting a new record at Syracuse, and an all-ACC first-team punter, that being Jack Stonehouse, heading into the 2026 NFL draft, and I can't wait for him to be drafted. Mon Paz brings you the list of topics for the day and our guests Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Go to Mon Paz and stock your stuffing the right way. Stuff your stocking? What did I say? Stock your stuffing? So stuff your stocking the right way. I knew I was going to stuff your stocking the right way at Mon Paz. 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. By the way, half price refills for the rest of your life if you buy a 10 on-site on location at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I say God bless. No stress, do your best. I look forward to talking with you soon. Find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Be safe, stay well, stay blessed.